Hello everyone, and welcome back to Monsters of the Past. As always, I'm your host, Mr. G, and today we're here to talk about two of the greatest terrors known to the sky. Well, maybe not as terrible as some of the bigger pterosaurs, but still pretty terrible, especially if you were a rabbit. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for today's birds of prey, Argentavis and Hieraaetus, aka the Haast's eagle. Argentavis means Argentinian bird, and it was a member of the Pteratornithid family, which was a very close group to vultures. It was a carnivore that lived during the late Miocene in South America. Argentavis had a wingspan of up to 20 feet long, making it one of the biggest birds that was capable of flight. It used to be the biggest, but it recently got beaten out by a seabird known as Pelagornis. Well, maybe. It's up in the air, since scientists aren't sure if they have exact measurements with it, and some people say that the measurements on Pelagornis may be off, so it's complicated. Despite Argentavis's huge size, most scientists actually think that it was a scavenger like its closest relatives, the condors and vultures. Using its large size, they would scare off the smaller scavengers in order to have more meat for itself. Like modern-day vultures, Argentavises were not very good flyers, especially when it came to taking off on the ground, so they would have had to wait for gusts of wind to give them a boost. Overall, Argentavises were basically just giant vultures, according to most paleontologists. It's kind of disappointing, considering that a certain video game made them seem so cool, but sometimes, to quote the Purple Man, reality is often disappointing. Meanwhile, Haast's eagle, whose real name I refuse to dignify because I don't want to say it again, and also because I couldn't find out what its name means for the life of me, is named after its discoverer, Julius von Haast. It was a member of the Acropit family, which is the family that includes most eagles. It was a carnivore that lived from the Pleistocene to only about a few hundred years ago, and its remains have been found in Australia. The Haast eagle had a wingspan of about 10 feet long, making it significantly bigger than any modern-day eagle. Now obviously, such a big predator would need to have hunted big prey. In this case, Haast's eagle is known to have hunted the giant flightless birds known as the moa. Much like modern eagles, they probably hunted these giant birds by diving onto their backs, which would have killed the moai almost instantly, at which point the eagle would feed on its remains. The Haast eagle actually went extinct pretty recently, as reports from early Australian settlers reported being attacked by giant eagles. Haast's eagle ended up going extinct after the moa went extinct, which caused the eagles to starve to death. Alright, we got double cards, so let's look at them. Well, I like the design they gave to Argentavis. It's clearly based on the modern-day king vulture, and it's a nice design. Gives it a really bulky look. Anyway, the main problem with this card is that it kind of overestimates Argentavis a little bit. As I mentioned before, most paleontologists nowadays think of Argentavis as a primarily scavenging animal. However, on the back of the card, it actually dismisses this notion and claims it's something that used to be thought. I guess they didn't think that a scavenger would have been cool enough for this series. Then again, on the T-Rex card, they made it seem like if T-Rex was a scavenger, it would have been a big wimp. So, I guess they just don't like scavengers and didn't want to make this thing look like one. Haast's eagle card is a bit better. In fact, the only problem I can find is that it refers to its old name of Harpagornis, which is a genus that it's no longer considered to belong to. Overall, both of these cards get a 9 out of 10 due to only having one inaccuracy. Now, for both of these animals, I can only find one appearance in pop culture for each of them. That's not a documentary. Keep in mind, I said not a documentary. These things probably have appeared in documentaries, but I don't keep track of those. Argentavis was in Ark Survival Evolved, where it's one of the most popular animals in the game, due to the fact that it's very useful, and besides, who doesn't want to ride a giant bird of prey? That just sounds awesome. As for Haast's eagle, in the Disney movie Moana, one of the characters, Maui, is a shapeshifter, and his eagle form was based on the appearance of the Haast's eagle. Although in the film, they just refer to it as his giant hawk form. That's all for this episode of Monsters of the Past. Join me next time when I talk about yet another bird. Bye!